distinguished guests, dear friends. When Robert asked me a few months ago whether I was visiting Tamil Nadu and if I could open the facility, I accepted immediately. I accepted his invitation immediately because I knew him when I was Minister for Trade and Industry, and I had visited his facility, a very beautiful facility at Tuas. And I knew over the years that he's very good in his business and in many ways represents the essence of what Singapore is all about. Our ability to move stuff quickly, reliably. It could be goods, it could be people, it could be money, it could be ideas. But no one moves them as fast and as accurately as we're able to in Singapore. I say this not in a jingoistic way. I say this because it was for this purpose that the British East India Company from Calcutta established Singapore as a trading post for the China trade in 1819. When I was Minister for Trade and Industry and began negotiations for a free trade agreement with India, first with Arun Shourie, then with Arun Jaitley, and finally with Kamal Nath, I explained what we were trying to do in these terms. I said all we are trying to achieve is to establish the position of the Raj. When standards were harmonized, when borders were porous, when people and goods could move freely. And in some ways, after a long while, we are re-achieving the old historical position of Singapore as an important eastern extension of India into East Asia. And Tamil Nadu, YCH, are important parts of the story. It has been a long journey. I remember when my wife and I first visited Madras, for then it was so-called, in 1986, and clearing the CIQ when we landed. Quite a tedious process, and tariffs were high, so many people brought in big boxes, stuff. And it must have taken us almost 2 hours to clear the line. But somehow, India was strangely familiar because for a long time, the standards that we had in Singapore, including our legal standards and our administrative systems, came from India. Then over the years, we saw a vast country opening up, transforming itself in the process. When Narasimha Rao began that process in 1990, and then Finance Minister Manmohan Singh and then Commerce Minister Chidambaram visited Singapore, we knew instinctively in our bones that we had to position ourselves. And just now before coming down here, while sipping a bit of tea privately with Robert, he said the most important thing is alignment. Aligning yourself with the interests of the people you're working with. On a different scale, Singapore aligned itself with India, and we could sense the profound changes taking place in this country. I attended a talk given by Chidambaram when he gave his dream budget, I think in 1996, from the Hindu growth rate of 3-4%, which was really an insult. He said at a stretch, 7%. And last year, with the economic downturn, it was still 7-8%. And this year, probably 9%. And the Indian consensus is now double digits once the bottlenecks are fully cleared. Clearing bottlenecks, that means logistics. That means supply line management. That means opening the ports, airports, and improving the administration. It is hardware, it is software, but most importantly, it is humanware. And Robert was telling me how important it has been for his quick startup here to receive the full support of the Tamil Nadu authorities in the SEZ, in Chennai, and of the central authorities, customs and others who studied Singapore, who studied China, and said, no, India will be best in class. So before our very eyes, we could see the channels, the meridians opening, the blood and the tea flowing. And we feel so proud and privileged in Singapore to be part of this story. And looking back, we were right very early to have aligned our interests with those of India. Robert, thank you for inviting me here. We are so proud to see this spanking new facility. We wish you well because your success here is emblematic of a much larger partnership which will bring benefits to both countries and beyond that, to Asia and the wider world. Thank you very much.